Alright, almost there, hon?
Yeah.
Just the long wait. Ready to go?
Yeah, we're doing Classic Albums 101, right?
Yeah, I figure we should start with that, right? Gotta look professional for this one. I'm just kidding.
Right. Professional. Welcome today to Classic Albums 101. My fake British accent, it's so terrible.
Oh boy.
I apologize to all the Brits out there. I'm watching too much of The Crown. And Ted Lasso. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, you start for reals this time.
Start for reals? Okay. Hello everybody, this is Nathan on Shuffle, and we've got Jana here. And this is our next episode in our Classic Albums 101 series. This is our third episode we've done. We've done The Beatles' Abbey Road and The Who, Tommy. Yep,
Yeah.
they're both behind us.
Yeah.
So check those out if you haven't seen those yet, because those are some really fun ones we did. But basically, in a nutshell, the premise is that we're listening to full albums in our own time, do these classic albums throughout like rock and music history. My wife, she doesn't really listen to albums full.
I listen to singles and you know, radio play. For me to sit and listen to a full like rock and roll album, like I don't think ever happened. I only did that with like soundtracks.
Right. So this is kind of an introduction to Jana to these full albums, and at the same time, I'm starting to collect these albums on vinyl, so it's my first listen on vinyl typically. And for some of these albums, it's my first listen too, or I haven't listened to them very much, because I'm more the prog guy. I do all kinds of prog music. And on this show, we try to do more like classic rock, classic pop, classic songs.
Yeah, so we're learning about it, hence the name Classic Albums 101.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a classroom, but
we're learning.
Irony is we're both the students, and there's no teacher here. We're kind of like the rowdy classmates.
Yeah,
figuring it out.
The internet.
Yeah, you guys can be our teacher.
I've heard describe the internet as like a drunk librarian who won't shut up. So yeah, okay. Wikipedia is our teacher. No, yeah, among many other websites.
All different sources, and the album and music itself is teaching us, and we're kind of learning. You know, I research what is considered some of the most classic albums throughout kind of music history, starting in like the 60s to hopefully working towards modern day, kind of doing it roughly in chronological order, but I'm not going to like stick to that necessarily if there's like a better one to do out of order, or if we want to go back and return to an older album or something, you know. But so far it's been kind of going through history a little bit, time-wise.
All three of them,
our big expansive 3-album catalog here. Yeah, let's not announce, but this is the album we're doing today, is the Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers.
It's the album with the crotch on it and the butt on the back.
Right, yeah. So that's the one we're covering. And just as a background for me, I'm not a Rolling Stones fan, really. Like, I'm not very familiar with Rolling Stones. I know they're like big hits, and I would include them in like a good classic rock mix and things, and don't hate them. I enjoy them, but I just don't know the band, like their full catalog. I'm a big Beatles fan, and I almost feel like oftentimes they're kind of pitted against each other. Like, these are the two classic 60s bands that battle it out of what's the better band, the Beatles and Rolling Stones.
I feel like they had totally different sounds.
Yeah, they are very different, like, so it's hard to compare.
Because we listened to this one, Abbey Road, and it just sounded completely different from what this sounded like. Yeah. So, I don't know.
And it could be, you know, we're pulling from different eras. You know, the Abbey Road is, you know, a 60s album, late 60s. But then this one, they're moving into like a 70s era.
Maybe that's
so
why.
The Rolling Stones had a lot of albums before this one that probably are more in line with like the classic 60s rock.
See, I'm learning.
So, yeah.
When was this?
This album came out in 1971.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's the Rolling Stones' 9th British album, their 11th American studio album. So it looks like they had different releases for their British releases versus their American releases, I guess. And so that's kind of where they're at. So they're a pretty established band at this point, obviously. This is like almost 10 years into their career. They started in 1962. They're an English rock band formed in London. And, you know, they kind of pioneer a lot of more of the maybe hard rock style and blues rock and that kind of stuff. They kind of pioneered a little bit of that genre. But between the debate of the Beatles, Rolling Stones, I'm definitely more on the Beatles side. But like you said, it's hard to compare. They're two totally different types of things, especially as they progress, you know, beyond the early British invasion, you know, early to mid 60s era. I think they go in pretty opposite directions. So, because I feel like the Beatles, they do things but more experimental and like do a lot sonically, like in the studio and stuff, where I feel like the Rolling Stones are more like standard rock and roll.
Yeah, that's what this sounded like to me, was just like a classic rock album that had lots of classic rock songs on it. Yeah. I thought the songs, I'm just jumping right into it.
No, let's do it.
I thought that the songs, like, they all sounded pretty similar to me in sound, with like different, I mean, not exactly, like, it's not like it was like one song the whole album, but they sounded similar, like they were being played by the same band. Whereas like I feel like some other albums we've listened to, like even like Tommy, was like songs sounded totally different, whereas this always had like that guitar sound, that electric guitar sound in it that permeated through a lot of like through all of the music. Put that over there. I don't want to hold it anymore.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I think that's a good first point. Yeah, I think especially compared to the last two albums we did, which had a bit more variety and they're kind of experimenting. Even the Beatles one had like, you know, this long suite that ran all into each other, but the first side of the album is these different songs, they have different feels. There's some that are more ballad. There's some one that was like a throwback kind of old school style song, and you know, there was the fun poppy like Octopus's Garden. Whereas this, it feels like it has more like one singular sound throughout, that you could tell, you know, this is the same band. This is, you know, they have a singular vision, I guess, on their record. And same with Tommy. You know, Tommy's a big rock opera, so it has like a lot of different parts and things going on and different storytelling devices. So I think that's a good comparison. Yeah. I
think I have one major complaint.
Let's get out of the way. What do you not like?
This is that it was hard for me to decipher the lyrics and the words that were being sung. I don't know if it was just production that they balanced it so the music was too loud, or if I just had such an untrained ear that I couldn't tell what the words were and what they were singing. And so when I went back and like looked at the lyrics, I'm like, that's what that was about? Oh my gosh. you know?
Maybe they got away with certain things because people didn't really know what they were singing about. And then you find out they're about pretty harrowing topics and like slightly like questionable things. Yeah. So that's an interesting thought.
Yeah. So I just had trouble with that. And so that whenever there's something like that, like where I can't hear lyrics, sometimes it makes me enjoy it less because like I don't know what you're saying. I want to hear your story. Yeah. And I will sometimes get bored during just the same music over and over and over again. And so if I can't understand the words, then it's just the same music over and over again with no growth or progression. Okay. And so I don't know if that makes sense in my mind. Yeah. That being said, I liked this album a lot. I thought that it was really fun and really cool. I'm trying to open my laptop for my notes.
Yeah, well, quickly, while you do that, just to kind of talk about I think it's an interesting discussion to the comparison of what you listen to music for. Like, for me, it didn't really bother me that I couldn't hear much of the... Because I'm not really a lyrics guy, necessarily. Yeah. I mean, I recognize that they're important, and there's certain songs that I really connect to the lyrics and so forth. But in general, I tend to listen to the music first and really get into like the instrumentation and what's going on with that.
You do that.
And the lyrics are kind of a side thing. I mean, I love vocals. I love the voice almost as an instrument, but I'm not really dialing into the lyrics, at least on first listens.
Yeah.
where I think it's more important to other people. And I think that might be partially why I prefer prog, is because there's
so much more
great
to the
lyrics,
music.
but there's more adventure in the music itself. So even if the lyrics are sparse or there's lots of like instrumental sections, the music is so varied and interesting that it keeps my attention, despite the fact that I may not be paying a ton of attention to the lyrics of it.
Yeah.
So just a little sidebar. I don't know if we should get too far into that.
Had you heard this album before?
I hadn't, no.
Just heard different songs.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of the songs just from, different... I had a greatest hits Rolling Stones collection, which I'm sure had Brown Sugar and Wild Horses and things like that on it. So, but yeah, as a full album, this was my first experience with it. So, kind of new to me too.
For our format for this show, we're supposed to pick 3 songs that we like and 1 song that we did not like or liked less.
Yeah, least favorite. You know, we don't want to say, "Oh, this is a terrible." We know some people will like that song, but just for us, it's just not
something about it was
our favorite.
Just not jiving with me.
Fair enough.
The first song that I liked was the one called "Bitch," and I just liked that it was a fun song and it was about love. It's like, dang it, I'm in love. So that was the one I liked.
Okay.
One of the ones I liked.
Yeah, I had the same choice as one of mine, so I guess I'll talk about it too. I really love this track too because it's a fun way. It starts out, I know I listened to it on vinyl, you listen to it more streaming, so this may not matter as much to you, but it starts out the second side of the album, so it kind of is a good opener for the second half. It's really vibrant and starts with a bang. It's fun. It has like some horns in it and great guitar and drumming, just really solid. Just kind of this cool, I think they describe it as like this hard-bitten rocker that's just, it's a lot of fun to listen to. So it's just a fun little song that really grabbed my attention too. So yeah, I agree. It's one of my top 3.
The next one is I got the blues.
Mm-hmm.
I got the blues.
Yeah.
And I wrote, great singable song, like it would be fun to sing if I knew all the words. So I can imagine myself like putting that on my playlist where I sing all the songs.
Yeah.
I just is that one of yours too?
Well, I have a caveat about that.
Okay. Yeah. I just like that one. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
As a singer, like I would want to like stand in front of an audience and sing that song.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I had it actually as one of my top 3 and then I changed my mind. So it was going to be one of them, but I changed it at the last minute. So, but I agree. It's a really cool track. It's kind of this slow burning blues song with like great vocals and, a lot of emotion and feel to it. And probably you like it because I'm guessing it's one of the more, like you can hear his vocals more pronounced than other songs maybe.
That's probably right.
So that means a lot to you, I think. Yeah. There's some great like Hammond organ I wanted to mention from Billy Preston. That was something that stood out to me. I just like the feel of that one a lot. So, and also some like horns as well. That's in a lot of different tracks, but I like some of the instrumentation that I want to mention. But I guess moving to one of my other top 3, which I'm guessing is not one of your favorites, is Can't You Hear Me Knocking? Because I know for Jana it's probably too long. It's probably just goes on too much. And of course, if there's a long song, it's probably going to be one of my favorites.
It's only 7 minutes, but like the rest of the album was like 2, 3, 4 minute songs. And then this one just kept going. And I'm like, they're done singing. What are they doing? They're just jamming, which was cool. I think that'd be really cool if you're just in a band and jamming and recording like that. I think that would be cool. I liked the first half of the song. Yeah. Then I was just like, okay, I'm done.
Well, I think
like it was still good.
Reading up on it, it was really only planned to be, I think, that like first 2 to 3 minutes was going to be the song. And then they just kept going. They kept like grooving and jamming out. And they didn't even realize, I think, that the tape was still running. And they listened back and just really loved what they did with it. So they just kept it. And so it has kind of, to me, almost a Latin kind of flavor. There's some congas and tenor saxophone. Yeah. It kind of reminds me, I think it might have even been inspired by like Santana at the time. So which does a lot of this kind of improvisational jam kind of sections. You'd probably hate a lot of that, but it's cool stuff. I like the feel of it and the groove. Some great organ in the background, a great guitar solo. I really enjoy this. This might be my favorite Rolling Stones song out of all of them. I just like the feel of it. It's like a classic. It starts off as this like classic rocker. It has a great riff, and it's just a really fun rock track. And then it just like to me it becomes even better with that big jam towards the end. So I know different things for different people.
I think live, like if I was sitting in the audience watching that, I'd be like, that's good.
Yeah, it would be cool to experience live, sure.
When I'm in my car, I'm like...
You're like ready to skip to the next thing.
Skip.
Fair enough.
That's probably why I get a C in this class.
No. What's cool about it, and that I'm hoping is kind of part of the show, is that everyone likes music for different reasons and likes different things, and we're coming at it from different perspectives. If we had the exact same opinion, it would be kind of boring, I think.
That's true.
We come in liking different things about it, and I think that shows with these classic albums that there's several different elements to like about it. So, so what's your final choice?
One,
yeah.
Oh, final.
Right. Did you do an extra or something?
I have like a third one is then like honorary track.
Okay. Sure.
Wild Horses.
Yeah.
And I liked that one because it sounded like a song that I would be in a car driving, riding, whatever, through the American Southwest.
Okay.
So like, I don't know, it just felt like a car ride song to me and
That's
a
cool.
road trip song. And it just had good sounds to it, good like acoustic, and just the good vocals that I'd want to sing along to. So I just enjoyed it.
Yeah, It's a classic, yeah. Definitely one of their most well-known, I think, at least from this album. And I find it interesting just in general that this album has such a country southern rock kind of flavor to it, especially for like an English band. You'd think that would be more of an American style, like you're talking about. So I found that really fascinating that they're kind of bringing that style more and more into the group, that I think has been on the last album or two, that they've kind of been flirting with that style. Not really as present in their earlier works, like their earlier mid 60s stuff was more like the standard, rock and roll stuff you'd expect from that time.
Yeah, my honorable mention is You Gotta Move, because it's simple and very like backwoodsy and very like very like country, like backwoods country, like deep in the country.
Deep
I
country.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like okay, like in Pirates of the Caribbean,
okay,
the ride in Disneyland.
Uh-huh.
You drive through the bayou next to Blue Bayou, the restaurant, and then you drive like by that old shack that has that guy like rocking on.
He's like, there's like a banjo or something strumming,
and it's like that's where I imagined this song being. My dad always like looks at that guy and he's like, "That's how I want my retirement to be." Like, no, Dad.
Yeah,
but that's the imagery that came to my head. Is the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Disneyland.
That's fun. Yeah, that one is cool. It's a cover, I believe, a cover of like a old blues song, which is why it probably feels so like old fashioned and.
Yeah, like, bluesy. That's the word I was missing.
With some like slide guitar, which is on a couple tracks, I think. So it's a pretty fun throwback. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah. My final choice kind of switched. Like I said, I Got the Blues was going to be it, but I changed it to Moonlight Mile.
Oh.
Which I liked more upon hearing the album a bit more. This closes the album. It's the final track. And it just was really interesting to me. Like the sound of it, like... had some interesting melodies, almost like a Eastern, like Oriental style, to it that was kind of different, and some really good soulful singing, kind of a slower, more ballad type track, but I thought it was really well done. It kind of has a bit of that country aspect to it, but mixed with other stuff. It's just a really nice ending to the album and one of their more like prettier tracks, I'd say, I guess, with that those like strings and different arrangements, some piano. I just thought it was really a cool one that stood out to me. It wasn't going to be in my top, but the more I heard it, the more I liked it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So least favorite?
Least favorite for me was Sister Morphine.
Okay.
It was all right. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I just
not much more to say. Just not your thing.
Maybe that's why I am choosing it for this, is because I just didn't have anything much a strong to say impression about it, and I just didn't necessarily care for it. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was fine. It was like.
Yeah.
It's a little bit slower, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit slower. Kind of starts off with some acoustic guitar and singing.
Not that I don't like slow songs, but it was okay.
Yeah, this wasn't as interesting as the other ones.
Like,
The one I felt that way about, my least favorite, is the one after that called Dead Flowers.
Oh. I kind of like that one.
I know. And
I debated putting that one in my top 3, but it turned out to be like top 6 or something. So.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people like this one, so maybe it's just, this is kind of only me that feels this way, but it just didn't have anything that really grabbed me. Just kind of a standard country song that was just kind of basic to me. That's really it, just this honky tonk guitar. I'm not a big country guy. Maybe that's why. And this, to me, was one of the more overtly country. Like, there's a lot of different country flavor to this, but I feel like it's often mixed with other stuff.
Yeah.
Where I can feel like, okay, that's a cool influence, and I understand it. But this just felt like a straightforward, like, we're just pretty much doing a country song here. And so, not my favorite. So that was kind of my choice. So we talked through most of the songs, talking through our tops. Oh, cool. We didn't really talk about Brown Sugar, which is, of course, a huge hit that starts the album.
I had that one in my top for a while, and then it just, it's a single, right?
Yeah, it was huge, hit. Popular, like #1 U.S. song, Billboard chart song, you know.
I might have heard that once or twice before.
Yeah. So, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I would think you would have. And Sway, of course, the second track is also one we didn't really mention, but a good little track too, with kind of that country southern rock feel and kind of a bigger ending with slide guitar and strings. So I don't know, just for completeness, those are the songs. So I guess
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts, yeah. Okay, for me, I liked it. I was actually surprised because I went in a little nervous because I'm not typically a Rolling Stones guy, and I had a preconception that I just don't really care for them that much. But overall, I really enjoyed the album. I thought it was really great. I thought every track had something interesting and cool in it. I thought the country flavor was interesting, kind of to balance things out, kind of this blues rock / southern rock kind of vibe. And I thought it was performed well and had a good balance of like some kind of slower ballady songs, but also some like rousing and rockers as well. So I thought it was a cool blend. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a really positive experience. And I would slot it very easily last amongst the 3 we've talked about because just, I'm not as much a fan in comparison. Like Abbey Road's the top. Like it's way more enjoyable to me just because it has such history for me. And then The Who, because of its like, placement in rock history as kind of a rock opera and how it inspired a lot of progressive rock concept albums. And then this one, which is a pleasant album, but not like anything groundbreaking for me personally, even though I know a lot of people love it and regard it highly as a classic.
I think I would put this as second.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's cool. I think that's fair.
Just because I enjoyed listening to it as a whole, like I just thought it had a good sound throughout the whole album, and I felt like all the songs were pretty cohesive with one another, and they all sounded just very not similar but different. Like okay. I don't know if that's making sense.
No, I kind of get it.
But
they have a cohesive nature and work well together as an album, which is important to me. Like with an album, you want it to sound like it fits, like all the songs fit together as one group. But each song needs to have its own identity at the same time.
And I just enjoyed these songs a lot just because they were like rock and roll songs. And I like a good beat and a good solid,
That's cool.
A good heartbeat to the songs, my one complaint is that I couldn't always decipher the lyrics. So,
sure.
And that's my only complaint.
Okay.
But otherwise.
You enjoyed listening.
Yeah. And that's not to say that I didn't enjoy Tommy. Like Abbey Road would be first for me, and then this one,
and then this one, yeah,
and then Tommy. But
yeah.
But I don't know. I just how I would have it. How I would rank it.
Well, the hope is these are all classics. So the hope is, in general, we like them, because they're classics. I mean, there may be a few up that just are totally not to our taste, but I think most of them will at least like and say they're good albums.
That's good.
So.
All right.
That's the hope. So now let's announce next show.
What is it?
We're going to be covering this album. This is one I picked up. This one.
What is it? David Bowie.
David Bowie. So I thought this would be a next.
The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Yeah. Classic.
Whoa. Courtney will love this because Courtney loves
David Bowie.
One of my friends and coworkers.
Yeah. So I thought David Bowie would be a great classic artist to cover. Kind of a unique, interesting artist.
Hey, Starman! I know that one.
All right. So we already have something There's a lot of pretty notable tracks. This is probably his biggest, classic, I'd say. That's why I picked it.
Is it a colored vinyl?
No, it's just regular.
Boring. I think just looking at the list, I only know Starman. And I only know Starman because of The Martian and Guardians of the Galaxy
right.
that played in the background.
Yeah, there's a couple you might
I just don't know classic rock.
You might know. Sorry. It's hard to know from the title sometimes. So there might be a couple others that once you hear them, you're like, oh yeah, I think I've heard this. But yeah, I thought this would be cool. David Bowie's an artist that I feel like I need to explore more. So
David Bowie.
That's kind of one I wanted to put on for my own benefit to just kind of learn more too.
So we'll probably have this show in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
So if you want to listen to it with us, David Bowie, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Yeah.
I'd read that book.
Quite a title, yeah. I think it might roughly be a concept album, but we'll get more into that next show. So thank you guys. Yeah.
Did we make it 15 minutes?
I think we're a little over the mark. But hopefully there's some interesting discussion. I had a lot of fun talking about this. So thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully you're enjoying this series and are maybe listening along with us, or you can give your impressions of the Rolling Stones in the comments.
What are your thoughts on Sticky Fingers?
Yeah. And so we just want to thank you all again for all your support and for watching these videos, and hopefully you'll join us in the next one. And subscribe if you haven't yet. We do these regularly, about every 2 to 3 weeks is kind of our schedule with them. So hopefully you'll enjoy the series moving forward. So thank you so much, and keep enjoying the music. Bye.
Bye-bye.